All right, Collector's Maze. We are here with our main man, Bruce Thomas. Uh, I let my guests kind of introduce themselves. So, Bruce, tell us what you've done, what we might have seen you in, and maybe what we've heard you in.
I was way back when in yonder days, I was the UPS guy in Legally Blonde that was on camera. First two Legally Blondes. They're writing a third one, by the way. I'm hoping to get called, but I
Nice.
haven't yet. And then did Hall Pass. This is all on camera. So did Hall Pass and then did Kyle XY as well, the series on ABC Family. As far as gaming goes, yeah, I do all the motion capture for Master Chief in Halos 4, 5, and then Halo Infinite, the latest one. I play Russell Ebb, and that's the only one, by the way, that I do just the motion capture for.
Okay.
I do the full performance, and then Steve Downs comes in, the voice of Master Chief, and then he watches what I did, and he sort of does his magic with the voice.
Awesome.
So it's a two-part performance for Master Chief. And that's the only one I do motion capture for. The others are all voice performances as well as motion capture. And one of them is Call of Duty Cold War. I play Russell Adler, the squad leader. And Horizon Forbidden West. I play this wacky character out in the jungle called Ezra. I was in Fallout 4, did some Gears of War, Judgment, Gears of War, Gears Tactics as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So the first thing we got to talk about, obviously, Legally Blonde. How did that come about? Because it kind of seems like a cameo role that kind of developed. People kind of actually latched onto that character a little bit because I noticed you got picked up for the second one.
Yeah,
Talk about that a little bit.
it was cool. The first, when they wrote the two ladies that wrote the script, they just had this idea that they were going to have, and it was back again. It was back in the day when I was young and handsome. They had this idea to have this UPS guy, this good-looking guy, come in and just be a thing that the girls talked about, and having that whole thing, kind of looking at the cute guy.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was talking to Robert Luketic, the director, I just kind of said, what if I'm the one that's infatuated with her, Jennifer Coolidge's character, Paulette? What if I'm the one that's like, hey, baby, here. He said, okay, what would that look like? Let's try it. Let's play. And so we did, and we liked the result. They liked the result,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it ended up. And then the writers approached me later and said, wow, we had no idea what that there's kind of a cool twist on it. So it's
Absolutely.
kind of,
That's awesome.
yeah,
So your idea kind of came through and went really well.
yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome. So, another thing I kind of talked about a little bit earlier before we got on camera, obviously, Army of Darkness a little bit. Like,
Ah,
how did that go about? Because that one's a little out there compared to everything else you've done.
sure. That was in I believe 93 or 4.
Wow.
That was way long time ago. And that was the first film I ever did in Los Angeles.
Oh wow. Okay.
I really lucked out. I got involved with, Sam Raimi, the director, and Bruce Campbell, and man, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was just it really what it came down to is my facial features are very similar to Bruce Campbell's, and
Sure.
so I play a little Ash, a little version of little Ash, a littler version of Ash, I should say,
Mhm.
and that's just really lucky for me. And then Sam Raimi was just got on the megaphone and had us do just nutty things, just had us do crazy stuff, and we were jumping around being idiots, and he happened to roll the camera and catch us all doing
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. That's a cool story. So, everything that kind of translated into how did you land Kyle XY? It kind of seems like some of the earlier stuff was kind of cameo-ish, and then you land like a solid role on Kyle XY where you're there. I think it was 46 episodes, 47 episodes.
Yeah, I did the whole thing. It was 3 seasons. It was cut short because they canceled the thing out of the blue. But that was a great experience, and ironically and weirdly, kind of again, I lucked out in a way. I did the first audition, and somebody was in the room. Julie Plec, the creator, was sitting there in the room, and I had known her socially, and so we kind of winked, nodded, and the other people in the room had no idea what was going on, and so I passed that audition. That was the second one actually, and I did these series of like 6 or 7 auditions to finally get the role. And Julie came up to me later and she said, by the way, I never told them that to go after you. I just sort of saved that in case I had to use it. But from the start, they just wanted you to play the dad. So I never had to pull that card. So I just, it was one of the easy, when in this business, when something goes really easy, that's, you were meant to do it. There's nothing gets in the way of it. You just sort of walk into it. You're right for the part, and it's done. It's a magical feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely. So kind of went back and forth between shows and movies. By looking at your IMDb, you were just kind of bouncing around. But let's talk about your break into video games. Like, what was how did that come to fruition? Like, who gave you that idea?
Halo.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Okay.
I was in a bar, and I was hanging out. Gosh, and it was in the middle of that economic downturn, this financial catastrophe that happened around 2009 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, there was a guy that chatted up a conversation with me. He said, "What are you doing these days?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I'm working on my voice. I'd like to start doing voiceovers because that's what I do. I'm a voice director." And it was Jamie Mortellaro, and he was putting his job for Halo was casting, because what they were going to do was they were going to go down an entirely different avenue. They were going to start motion capture. They were going to start emotional storylines with Chief, and so they needed a real actor to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long story short, I won't bore you, but through a series of the next 6 months and passing cards back and forth, I eventually got a call, and ended up meeting the guys at Microsoft, and won the job out of like 25 guys at the very end.
Yeah.
So it was hundreds down to 25, and then I ended up getting it, and it was just magical again. I keep saying I feel so lucky in my career, just like that. I just happen to be in the right places at the right times, and that's kind of what it takes, because there's millions of people obviously vying for everything.
Tons, absolutely, especially for something as iconic. Did you already know how big Master Chief was before you got into it, or did you kind of
I'm
find
not a
out?
gamer.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer. I've never played a game to this day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my generation sort of missed that, or at least I did. So no, I really didn't. Although Jamie, the guy that found me, we became fast friends and are to this day. And he sort of, as the process went along, he filled me in. He said, "Dude, you have no idea how big this is. This is big.
Yes.
This is about to change your life. This is big."
Yeah, absolutely. So how did that lead into getting the call for Adler?
The call for Adler. Well, I just that was a normal process of just sitting here in my booth. There's my booth. Hello. And I fired off a voice audition just like all the others. And this guy named Bob Love at over there at Raven Studios in Wisconsin just took a liking to the quality of my voice, apparently, and brought me in, and I sort of felt like our in-person meeting sort of sewed it up. He became a big fan from that point forward, and there was no stopping us.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you? Because I know with the motion capture, they call you in and they have something kind of they say, hey, do this. With the script for Call of Duty Cold War, did you kind of get it in pieces, or did you get the whole thing and they just said, hey, record as you go, like record at your own pace?
Well, for the audition process, no, I just had one or two scenes. I had a couple of scenes that they had me work on,
Yep.
and so we did that. And I didn't have any context for them. I didn't know where they were coming from in the story, in the arc of the story. So what I did was, when they did offer me the part, I suggested that we all have a big meeting, and because as an actor, you need to have more information is better. More information is better, so you can fill out in your imagination what's happening. Right? You can't if you don't have an idea what's going on, you just get lost, and then the performance becomes inauthentic. So I ended up going out to Wisconsin and having a whole meeting with Raven, and for a couple of days, and we sat around and they just went through the entire arc of the story. It was just incredible, and so that filled me all in. That gave me everything I needed to get started.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you don't play the games. Have you seen any of the Adler scenes when they were finished?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they sent we did that trailer. I don't know if you remember, the first trailer that came out was the part of it was the conference scene with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And so they sent me that, and I was like, Oh my God.
That's
Because
awesome.
I was sitting at the table with Jeff, who voiced Ronald Reagan, and I was just, even when we were working, I was at the table and I just couldn't stop staring at him like, what?
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to Ronald Reagan, basically. And anyway, to try to answer your question, yeah, I saw there was a 2 minute trailer they put together, and there was a whole bunch of like sort of greatest hits of all in that trailer to promote it. So that was really what I saw initially.
Gotcha. Awesome. Horizon Forbidden West. You set your Ezra, this weird character in the forest. Again, another complete switch what you have originally been doing.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for that, and what context did they give you for that?
I sort of who I had in mind was, I don't know if your generation knows or remembers this, but there was a guy named Jim Jones. He was a cult figure.
Hmm.
This is back in the 70s, so this goes way back. I happen to remember him because I was a kid then. I was young then, and it was a guy that had out in the jungle who had this a whole bunch of civilian people that came out. There was a cult, so he got them to eventually. It was a religious cult, so he got them. He was very charming. He got them to all agree to commit suicide together, and they did. Like 600 or 700 people all drank this poison Kool-Aid together. He was a charismatic, evil dude, and so that's sort of what I had in mind for Ezra.
Okay.
So he's out there in the jungle. That along a little bit, it would be cliche to say Apocalypse Now, Marlon Brando, but sort of similar.
Yeah,
He's a nut job out there. He's lost his marbles. So
absolutely. So now that we kind of got we kind of encapsulated the career, what got you into acting? What made you want to do this?
I was always a creative kid.
Okay.
When I first of all, I grew up on a farm in Michigan.
Okay.
So in a real farm, I mean, I was on the tractor, dusk till dawn.
Gotcha. So imagination.
Imaginations. For some weird reason, I just started. I got a camera early on. I started taking pictures, out in out in the woods and stuff, and of my toes and all these crazy things. Whatever I came up with, I would draw. I would write poetry. I would read. I would play guitar. I taught myself to play guitar. I would always do these artistic things, and my dad would look at me and go, "Boy, what the hell's wrong with you?" Nobody in our family was like that. So, long story short, when I was in college, a movie studio opened up in North Carolina where I was going to school to be a marine biologist. I was failing at that. So I got a chance, an opportunity to jump in that. And it was Firestarter with Drew Barrymore, the first
Oh
one.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I became friends with her and her mom. She was only 9 years old, but I was kind of like an older brother. I was like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom. And I had such a great time. I got to be on that set for 6 weeks because I ended up getting a job of being a stand-in for their lead actor, and I had never been on a film set before. So I was there for six weeks.
Wow.
It was with Martin Sheen and George C. Scott. Again, names you probably aren't that familiar with, but big stars in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was friends with Drew's mom, she said, "Well, damn, if you'd like to pursue this, don't go to L.A. Go to New York, get on the stage, learn your craft, be a theater actor. Here's a friend of mine. Call her when you get there. Her name is Susan, or her name is Anna Strasberg. It was Lee Strasberg's wife. Ran the
Wow.
actor's studio, right?
Yeah.
Not a better connection you could have had. And
Never.
so
Wow.
I did. I never went to had never been to New York. Dropped my bags at the, went there, called Anna Strasberg, and got into school, and then just from there, just worked my tail off.
Wow. So you did stage acting before all the rest of the
Yeah.
stuff. What kind of shows were you in? Did you do any musicals, or did you get like the dramas?
No, I didn't end up. I sang in dramas, but no, I never did any musicals. I did a show called Bent on Broad. It was the first production since Richard Gere did it on Broadway.
Wow.
It was a small house. It wasn't on Broadway. It was a small house, but I did an Ira Levin play called Veronica's Room. I did a Western on stage. Yeah, just getting into a theater group and learning how to build stages and learning how to light and learning how to direct and learning everything about everything.
Absolutely.
That was a great. She was exactly right for me to do that. It just rounded my education before I went out to La La Land out
Awesome.
here.
Absolutely. So, last thing, if you could give people who want to either get into the motion capture, the voice acting, the regular acting. You kind of talked about the stage acting kind of rounding you out. If you could give just like give me like a 3 minute just soapbox. If you guys want to do this, this is how to do it.
Well, I think everybody's different, but again, I would leave, if you're not going to do theater, at least keep your child alive, keep your inner child alive. Just, that's the most important part about doing motion capture, because you're on a stage that's just basically a white box surrounded by hundreds of cameras. Oops. And so all you have is your imagination. That's all you have. You're sitting there and you've got no props, you've got no anything. You're not wearing anything except the tight things. So it's all up here. I've seen some actors do some incredible monologues and stuff on stage, holding an injured bird and breaking down crying. It's not there, it's all in your imagination. It's just beautiful, a beautiful thing to keep in touch with your inner child. Stay off your damn phone, watch people, watch people, cherish your relationships, your human relationships, look people in the eye, talk to them, watch people. They're so fascinating. Everybody's different in how they handle situations. Go to the grocery store, go to a car wash, your family. Oh my God, it's a great source of education, just to watch behavior and see what it does to you.
Excellent.
I don't know.
Awesome. So
that's all I got.
So that absolutely fine. That was great. So you're coming to Level Up ICT Con. Have you ever been to Kansas before?
Aside from driving through, no.
Driving through? Probably went on I-70 straight through. But
yes, I did. Yeah, I was going from LA to Michigan one time.
Oh wow, you drove the whole thing? Jeez.
Yeah, and a cop pulled me over in Kansas, and I had a drug dog in the back. And I had just had a little gummy thing.
Yeah.
And he pulled me back. He was, while he was running my plates, he pulled my license. He pulled me back and had me sit in the car. And I looked behind me, and there's a drug dog right there. The nose is right there. Like, he was just hoping to God that dog smelled something, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, see you. You're on your way.
Dang. Of course. Well, we are excited to have you. What's one thing we can look forward to having you there? Like, is there any kind of cool prints or anything you're going to bring?
That's a good question. I have not talked to my agent about that yet. I don't know.
Don't know. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll have you.
I wish I was more prepared for you on that one.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's one of those questions you never know. So, yeah. Bruce, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, but thanks again for your time. And we're going to have you October 7th, 8th, and 9th right here in Wichita, Kansas.
Fantastic. Can't wait to be there, Brandon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.